My name is Miriam Meyerhoff and I'm Professor of Linguistics at the Department of Applied Language Studies and Linguistics at the University of Auckland. I was doomed to start working in sociolinguistics, I think. I grew up in California until I was 6 years old, and my mother fell in love with a New Zealander and we moved, the whole family moved to New Zealand, lock, stock and barrel. And so I found myself suddenly at the age of 6 in a place where people spoke a little bit like me, but very differently. And when you're 6, that's not actually such a great thing to have. And so I really worked very consciously to try and make myself not sound like a little American and to sound more like a New Zealander. And I knew I had done it when I was about, after we'd been in New Zealand for about 5 or 6 months, and we were talking about some of the boxes that we had left over from when we were moving. And my mother said, what do you think we should do with these? And I said, let's make a desk out of them. And she said, no, I think that would be a bad idea. And we went back and forth, and it turned out she thought I'd said, I think we should make a discard of them, okay? And so very early on I became aware of accent differences and the way language can, sort of both be a boundary as well as a way of connecting with people. I work on language contact mainly. That means that I work on areas and places where people come together who speak different dialects or who speak completely different languages. And that's a really interesting kind of research to do, because when you get people who don't speak exactly the same talking to each other, something new comes out of it, and they have to do something creative to try and bridge those kinds of gaps that can exist between what you're coming with and what the other person's coming with. I also do quite a lot of work on language and gender. This has been a recurring theme in my research, and sometimes what I find is that gender, even though it's a social category that's probably universally marked in all the world's societies, sometimes it's marked more strongly in language, and sometimes it's very much something that's sort of below the radar. And I'm interested both in the stuff that's really in your face to do with how people mark gender through language, but also the ways in which it gets taken for granted. Any kind of research on sociolinguistics has to take into consideration issues of variation and language change. And that's a very exciting topic internationally. There's some of the most cutting-edge research that's being done in linguistics at the moment is focusing on exactly variation and change. In Auckland, we've got a wonderfully diverse city, and we've got a lot of people who have come here from other places. And that means that the city of Auckland in itself is kind of like a microcosm. It's lots and lots of language contact going on. There are interesting projects that are happening in places like London and Toronto, which are perhaps more well-known metropolitan cities that have got very diverse backgrounds, but none that have got kind of the depth of language contact and the large percentage of migrants that Auckland has. And I think that the work that we're going to be doing in Auckland in the next few years is going to make a major contribution to that kind of research. One of the nice things about linguistics is that language is a very democratic subject. Everybody has access to it, everybody has access to opinions about it. So one of the nice things about teaching linguistics, and sociolinguistics in particular, is that you can send students out right from first year to start doing research on their own, and you can get them to be engaging with the community and to be doing research that's socially relevant and that's also really, really interesting for them.